So what will Congress support? What do some Democrats want to see the president do? Joining me now is Delaware Senator Chris Coons. He's member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So, Senator Coons, welcome to our special coverage. Let me ask you, what would you like to, obviously, I think a lot of people think the president's strategy's got to change. A, do you believe that? And B, if you do, how would you like it to change?
Well, first, Chuck, I think along with everybody who's been watching today, my heart goes out to the victims in Paris and to one of our longest and closest allies. The French people need to know that we stand with them. And I've been heartened by the displays of support and fellow feeling throughout the world for the losses in Paris. I do think it's regrettable when a Republican congresswoman comes on your show and dedicates her whole time to attacking the president, decrying the so-called vacuum of leadership. When on the ground in recent days, there's been some significant progress. The 7,000 air sorties that have been carried out by the coalition that President Obama pulled together over the last 14 months just recaptured Sinjar, one of the key towns between Raqqa and Mosul. Just in the last 24 hours, Kurdish Peshmerga fighters on the ground have recaptured Sinjar, the town that in some ways was the site of the beginning of our entrance into a campaign against ISIS. I do think, Chuck, as you said earlier, that Congress, a Republican-controlled Congress, is divided internally about exactly what we're willing to support in terms of more troops on the ground or more active engagement in Syria and Iraq to fight ISIS. I personally think that we need not U.S. troops on the ground in a large number leading a ground action against ISIS, but we need allied regional troops. American intelligence, logistics, air support can play a central role. And the coalition that the administration has pulled together can and should play a central role. But without fighters like the Kurdish Peshmerga, like the Turks, like the Syrian opposition, like Jordanians providing pressure and support in the region, ultimately, I don't think we'll be successful, because to simply reinsert 10 or 20,000 American troops into this region, as we did during the Iraq War, will make our troops the focus of the conflict and will make our troops a direct target for action by ISIS and simply escalate the number of recruits that ISIS is able to draw into the fight from around the region of the world. I think that's what ISIS wants, Chuck. I think they want to draw us into an endless and bloody ground war in Iraq and Syria.
All right, well, you've painted a picture of making the case that the United States and the coalition is making progress against ISIS. And on the ground, I've seen, obviously we've seen that progress. And simultaneously, ISIS or franchises of ISIS have taken down a Russian aircraft, blown up and killed hundreds in Beirut. And of course, what happened last night in Paris. This is a competing split screen here. Is ISIS on the run, or is ISIS getting stronger?
I think in some ways ISIS is deadlier than ever. Their initial year, where they were running the table in the northeastern corner of Syria and in western Iraq, where they were expanding dramatically their territorial gains and where they were reaching out to recruits around the world with the horrors that they were committing on social media, was a year that really challenged the world community to step up and fight them, and we have. And now that we're seeing some success in containing them on the ground and some success at pushing back on them on the ground, I think we're seeing them reach out and engage in more of the sort of spectacular, terrible, tragic attacks like you just outlined that al-Qaeda was previously known for. So I do think we're going to have to shift strategy and be equally focused on good intelligence gathering, on human and signals intelligence, and on working with our Western allies to make sure that we're secure at home.
But very quickly, you believe that what the president's been doing so far still has been working?
We have made progress on the ground in reversing their territorial gains. But frankly, we need a stronger engagement from our regional allies. We've had some of our key regional allies hanging back and not really engaging as actively as we need. And I do think that the efforts being led by Secretary Kerry to negotiate some sort of a ceasefire in Syria are critical. The refugee situation, Chuck, is spiraling out of control and is causing a real challenge, a real destabilizing destabilizing impact on our regional allies. And I do think that the Syrian civil war, the longer it grinds on, the more of a basic threat to regional stability it presents.
The root cause in Syria. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat from Delaware, member of the Foreign Relations Committee. Thank you, sir, for coming on this evening.